My name is Bethany Foerg. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've been working at CAPS for about a year now. And for today's presentation, we're going to go over mindfulness and how it can help with stress management. I'm going to go over several kinds of mindfulness and how you can practice it in your daily lives. I'm going to go over some Purdue resources that are centered around mindfulness. I'll give an overview of CAPS services and talk about CAPS services that are popular with graduate students. And then at the end of the presentation, if we have time, we'll do a practice guided meditation. Like I said, my name is Bethany. I am one of the College of Engineering liaisons. I'm also one of the liaisons that works closely with grad student government. And I do have a slide that talks about what liaisons are doing in the next few weeks that is open to you students. So mindfulness is an overarching term that relates to a lot of things. It comes out of Buddhist ideology, and it's paying attention in a particular way on purpose and in the present moment and being non-judgmental about it. So mindfulness is a skill that you can practice. It's sort of a lifestyle thing too. Over the years, the therapy world has recognized it as being helpful for mental health, stress management. It's helpful in relationships. It's helpful in your work that you do, and it just keeps expanding. So, how does mindfulness help with stress? Well, it interrupts the cycle of stress. When you have stress, you have different triggers or stimuli that gets you having unhelpful thoughts, causes some uncomfortable emotions to come up. You get physiological sensations because of stress. You know, your heart rate increasing, your muscles tensing up. Some people even develop digestive problems because of stress and anxiety. And so mindfulness is a way you can interrupt that cycle. It reduces those physiological symptoms. I'm not a science person. I'm sure there are some of you out there that might understand it better than I do, but there's something physiological that happens in your mind-body connection when you slow down, when you practice the breathing exercises, when you focus on one thing. And that is how mindfulness can help with the physiological symptoms. Mindfulness also helps you problem solve. It helps you be more aware of what's going on in your surroundings, as well as what's going on within you, as well as what's going on in like interpersonal interactions. And so that's how mindfulness can help with stress and some stress reduction if you make mindfulness a practice. It increases acceptance and self-compassion because of that whole non-judgmental part of practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness can help you improve your sleep, help your body relax and slow down and be ready for sleep. It slows down your reactivity, and this is big when I teach folks emotional awareness and emotional regulation. If you can slow down how you're reacting from the trigger or stimulus, being mindful of the way emotions are coming up for you and what those emotions mean to you, then you're not going to be as reactive. You're going to be more responsive and behave in ways that you're more proud of, but also behave in ways that feel a little bit more problem solving, and that can help reduce stress as well. Mindfulness, because you're practicing focusing in on a certain particular thing, it helps improve your focus and your concentration abilities. And that can help you with your classwork. It can help you do your labs. It can help you catch up on notes or homework. It can help you in your relationships as well. So this is one of my favorite pictures to describe mindfulness. If we look at the person graphic and the thought bubble that's going on, the person has obviously a lot of things that are distracting them from the moment. And if we look at the dog is focusing on the moment and is blissfully happy about the present. And I want to acknowledge that we can't always be like the dog because we do need to problem solve. We do need to address our issues. But if you practice mindfulness and you practice it in specific times of your day, then you're reducing your overall stress. You know, there's times where you'll want to be like the dog and focus on the present moment and just be at peace with the now. And there's other times where you want to do some problem solving. And so you might bring in a little bit of worries, not as chaotic as what that graphic shows though. So types of mindfulness. I'm sure you guys have heard about meditation. There's so many forms of meditation. There is more of that quiet classical meditation that comes more out of the Buddhist ideology, where you're focusing on your own sensation of just being. You may focus on your breathing, you may focus on like your body, but it's more like an emptying of your mind. Then there's guided meditation, where you direct your mind to hone in on a particular thing. You may do a progressive muscle relaxation, where you focus on different muscle groups, flexing and relaxing those muscles. You may also do like a guided imagery, where you think about a happy place that you've been, or you think about that end goal. A lot of Olympic athletes will do the imagery, though, will imagine themselves on that podium with that gold medal. That helps motivate them to do things, but it also achieves a sense of like peace when they're thinking about how much work they have to do. The breathing exercise, there's so many different kinds of breathing exercises. There's the numbered counting, where you breathe in slowly to the count of 4, breathe out slowly to the count of 4. One of my favorite ways is just to put a hand on my chest and a hand on my stomach. If you are taking shallow breathing, the hand on your chest is going to move up and down more because you're only breathing in the top part of your lungs. But if you're taking nice full breaths, you don't want to breathe so you're uncomfortably full, but nice full breaths, the hand on your stomach is going to be going up and down more. And that's what we want to do. I don't do much counting with my breathing exercises, but that's just another form to just feel how you're breathing. If you've ever played like a woodwind or a brass instrument, you know how to get a nice full lung, or if you've ever been a swimmer or a singer, you know how to do that. So you can draw on those experiences. There's other breathing exercises where you're focusing on the sensation of breathing. And this is a very classic mindfulness thing, where you really note what it's like to breathe in through your nose, feel that sensation, really feel the sensation of your lungs filling, and feel what it feels like to breathe out through your mouth. That's another breathing exercises. Pinterest, things on the internet, you can find all kinds of breathing exercises. They even have like what looks like a labyrinth maze kind of thing. You follow it with your finger, and when the pattern changes, you breathe in. When it changes again, you breathe out. Those are really kind of interesting to do. Pinterest is a lovely place to find all kinds of coping skills, suggestions, and breathing exercises. Another form of mindfulness is doing like a mindful practice in your routine. And this would be like when you're doing your daily tasks, making coffee in the morning, being mindful of what you're doing, paying attention and being aware that you are pouring the water into the coffee machine, that you're putting the scoops of coffee into the top, and smelling it while it's brewing, and being very aware of that. That can help you focus on feeling prepared for your day and feeling more calm and at ease, versus what a lot of us do in the morning is we think about, oh my gosh, all these things that I have to do. And we stress ourselves out before we even start the day. You can also do like mindfulness when you're getting ready for bed in the evening, you know, brushing your teeth, washing your face, getting all cozy and comfy in bed. I always put like a nice smelling lavender lotion on my hands to smell the soothing scent, stuff like that. Mindfulness walks are also very popular. This is where you just go out in nature, even if it's cold, you bundle up and you pay attention to what's going on while you're experiencing nature, or walking down the street, you know, or mindfully walking through the mall. There's ways you can pay attention to certain things. You don't have to pay attention to everything, but you can pay attention to certain things. Example of this, when I was in college, I lived next to a park, and during the winter, I would bundle up and I would walk the lap around the park. And how I practiced mindfulness was paying attention to different animal tracks that I would see in the snow. Emotional awareness is one of my favorite forms of mindfulness because I love teaching people emotional regulation skills. So emotional awareness is being mindful of what feeling you're having when you're having it. And a big part of practicing mindfulness with your emotions is don't judge yourself for having the emotions that you have. And recognizing that this is just my current state of feeling. It will come and it will go. And understanding what that feeling has to mean about your values and what you find important can then help guide your actions. And that's how it helps with the reactivity. Situational awareness and interpersonal mindfulness is also really important, especially if you have a hard time with concentrating or focusing, or if you may have been diagnosed with ADHD. Situational awareness is understanding what is expected of you in that moment, what are your duties in that moment, being aware of what you're doing as you're doing it. Interpersonal mindfulness is being aware of like the interaction, how what I say may impact somebody else, and then what they say impacts me. And that can help you improve your relationships, that can help you feel like you have a sense of control or influence over what happens with you. Here are some infographics on how to start practicing mindfulness. Just taking a seat, setting a time limit is important. For me, since I've had so many years of practice with mindfulness, I can do it for a longer amount of time. But if you're new into practicing mindfulness, you might start with 5 minutes. Noticing how your body feels, being aware of how your bottom feels in your seat, or how your back feels with your posture, or sometimes it's soothing to pay attention to how your clothes feel on your body, your soft sweater and the warm socks that you wear or something. Feeling your own breathing, we've gone over that. Noticing when your mind has wandered is very important. This is the number one skill, in my opinion, about mindfulness. When you notice that your mind has wandered, again, you don't be judgmental to yourself about it. You just gently redirect yourself back to what you were focusing on. And this is how that skill helps with your concentration and your focus moving forward. It's called brain training. The more times that you're able to recognize that your mind has wandered and successfully redirect yourself, it doesn't matter that it's wandered. What matters is that you're redirecting yourself back to what you were focusing on. That trains your brain to be better at focusing moving forward. I will admit, when you first start doing mindfulness or that brain training kind of thing, it is frustrating when you first start doing it, but the more you try it, the more you implement it into your life, the easier it does get. Again, be kind to your wandering mind. And then the second infographic goes over more of that like mindfulness in your routine. Mindfulness when you're eating is actually really helpful if you're trying to reduce your food intake. Maybe you're trying to diet. Sometimes we are trained to eat more than what our body actually needs. So if you're paying attention to how your body feels with the food that you are intaking, then it can help you slow down and not eat more than what your body needs. Paying attention to sounds is also another favorite of mine when it comes to mindfulness. I've been known to just listen to some interesting songs and paying attention to different rhythms and beats in the songs, or how one instrument stands out versus another one. That's another good way for me to practice mindfulness. There are a ton of apps on mindfulness. I really want to point out TaskHuman to you guys. If you go to Project Bloom's website through the College of Engineering, you can get a link to then log into TaskHuman for free. It is a coaching app. They do mindfulness stuff on there and yoga stuff on there. Anything you can imagine that you might need some sort of coaching on, TaskHuman will have it. And basically, you schedule a time to meet live with a person and do some coaching. And it's free to you, sponsored by the College of Engineering. I also want to point out WellTrack. WellTrack is sponsored to you by Purdue University. WellTrack is a self-help therapy app. They do have some mindfulness programs or mindfulness directives through there. I also want to point out YouTube. One of my favorite forms of practicing mindfulness is that progressive muscle relaxation. And I know that sometimes it's hard to practice when you first get started. And all these apps will have versions of that. Some apps have a cost and some don't. I like to just type to YouTube progressive muscle relaxation, and I will maybe shop around and find a video where the person's voice is very soothing, and then I'll hit play and I'll just follow along with the prompts. That's an easy, quick way to start practicing different forms of guided meditation. And on our CAPS website, under the resources tab, there's a list of all different kinds of apps that may be helpful to you beyond what are listed for mindfulness. There's also apps on like mood tracking and things like that. So you can go ahead to the CAPS website and check that stuff out as well. And there are some services at CAPS that are centered around mindfulness. There's the Thrive and Advanced Thrive group. These are mindfulness groups. You will go through all the different kinds of practicing mindfulness and relaxation skills. There's the Letting Go with Rio workshop. This workshop is featured on helping you let go of a past hurt or difficult emotion that you're dealing with, or letting go of something you feel like you need to control, but you really don't have control over. There's a lot of emotional regulation skills built into this Letting Go workshop. And part of emotional regulation is being able to self-soothe. And that's why there's a heavy mindfulness component to the Letting Go with Rio workshop. The Anxiety Toolbox workshop is everything you need to know about anxiety and how to create your own anxiety management plan. This workshop is one of my favorites to teach. And the workshops are really nice because they're typically 3 to 4 weeks and you meet once a week. And the Anxiety Toolbox workshop goes over a lot of different coping skills for anxiety, and a lot of them are mindfulness and relaxation skills based. If you didn't know, the COREC offers services that have a mindfulness flair to them. There's wellness coaching where you can also do some classes on like yoga. Yoga is a good form of mindfulness because you're paying attention to how your body is functioning. That balance piece and coordination piece. And they also do a lot of mindfulness kind of things in yoga where they ask you to clear your mind and just hone in and focus. The COREC also has a mindfulness room. You can do group mind guided meditations, or you can do a private guided meditation. They have a massage and light therapy offerings. The light therapy is going to be really important this winter because seasonal depression, one of the major things that causes seasonal depression in Indiana is the lack of UV light that we get, and our vitamin D levels go down. And you can reserve time to go to the light therapy room over at the COREC. I also wanted to note the Buddhist Society has some meditation sessions, several in the next few weeks. And you just have to log in through Boiler Link. They have their Zoom link on there and you can join. Sessions seem to be at 9 or 10 p.m. I'm sure they're going to continue some offerings come spring, so check them out through Boiler Link. All right, so CAPS services. Like I said, we have workshops. We have several different kinds of workshops, and they typically are 3 to 4 weeks. Currently, during the end of the semester, we are offering a one-time stress management workshop. You meet for 1 hour and then you're done, but you learn all the skills you need for some stress management. And to get started with that, all you have to do is call our number. We offer brief individual therapy sessions, and this is typically a 4 to 8 session framework. We do try and do some individualization and try and meet a specific student's needs. That's why it's a 4 to 8 session framework. However, if you're not sure you want to do that brief therapy framework, you can always still get started with CAPS. You can call us and you can talk to us and we can direct you on how to get connected with a community provider if you're wanting more long-term therapy. So what we like to say is everybody can get started with CAPS. You can treat us as like your mental health consultation folks. Come and learn more about mental health. And if you like the brief therapy model, you can stay and do that with us. Or if you're wanting more long-term therapy, we can definitely help direct you with that. We have several different kinds of groups, and in a bit, I'm going to go over groups that are popular with graduate students. Groups students tend to like because there's no limit on the number of sessions that you do. You can do group your entire Purdue career if you want to. It won't always be with the same group leaders or the same group members, but you can keep doing groups each semester. We offer medication management services. We have currently 3 psychiatrists on staff, and medication management services are one of the services with CAPS that does have a charge, and that depends on how long of an appointment that you are scheduled with. We do want everyone to know that if you do medication management with us, you also have to do some form of therapeutic services. That could be therapy with a CAPS therapist or a community therapist. It could be doing groups. It could be doing the workshop. It's like a dual model. You do the medication as well as a therapeutic service. We offer care management services. This is someone who helps coordinate scheduling and referrals. A care manager may work with a student who needs to have more contact more regularly. They may also work with a student to help them get connected to Medicaid services, or they may help the student find services in the community. They're very helpful if you're looking for a place to receive ADHD testing. Care managers are very familiar about places around Indiana and Lafayette areas that do that kind of testing. Also, CAPS Services offers emergency crisis services. So at business hours, we have 2 therapists on standby. If you are having more thoughts of suicide, or if you're panicking, if you feel you need to speak to somebody immediately, you could just walk to the 2nd floor of Push, and you'll have to fill out some paperwork, but you'll see a therapist. After hours, you just call our main CAPS phone number, and we partner with a service called Protocol. These are licensed therapists that will speak to you on the phone. Sometimes there's a little bit of a wait, but it's not too terrible. It's not a CAPS therapist, but if you have a CAPS therapist and you utilize Protocol, your therapist will receive a notification of that Protocol call that you did and get a little bit of a note on it. Okay, so services that are popular with graduate students. The graduate USO groups, this is a process-oriented group. The topic changes depending on what group members are dealing with. Groups, you meet weekly with the same people per semester, and graduate students like this because they get camaraderie. They have other people they're meeting with that have similar experience to them, the stresses of graduate school. I also have seen that graduate students tend to like the workshops because they are that 3 to 4 weeks, and it's not a lot of commitment. You get a lot of good information that you can then implement into your life. They also utilize the brief individual therapy and also couples therapy. We do have a few couples therapists on staff here at CAPS. And one of the members of the couple has to be a Purdue student enrolled in classes. But it's brief couples therapy. Again, it's like that 4 to 8 session framework. Graduate students, if they are identified as BIPOC, they do like to participate in the BIPOC group or the Multicultural Women's Empowerment group. The transgender and non-binary group is also popular. The power-based trauma group may not be popular with graduate students, but it isn't the BIPOC, the multicultural, and the transgender, non-binary, and the power-based trauma group are not exclusively graduate students. However, if the students who participate in these groups find it very normalizing, find it very supportive. We also have a grief group that I did not put on here. There's also the advanced anxiety process group. This is different than the workshop. This is for students who have done a lot of skills already with their anxiety, but they're looking to continue honing their skills and managing their anxiety. That one's also popular with graduate students. Okay, so I mentioned liaisons. So within the College of Engineering, there's myself, there's Andrea, and there's Chase, the current liaisons to the College of Engineering. This semester, we've been offering snacks with CAPS at the ARMS building, and it's from 1 to 2 on Fridays. There's one coming up this Friday, and I will be there. Andrea will be there on the 10th, and then Chase will be there on the 17th of this month. We don't have any dates set for spring yet, but you can follow the College of Engineering on Instagram. They usually post on there what's going on. We also have a liaison web page through Project Bloom. You can look for our information on there, as well as read bios about us liaisons on there. With the graduate student liaisonship, there's myself and then there's Natalie. And this semester, we've been offering drop-in support sessions. This is exclusively for graduate students. It is not open to faculty or staff. And that's why there's that RSVP code on there. This is an open discussion. Whatever students decide they want to talk about and receive some support around, that's what we focus on. It's not group therapy. It's just a discussion for graduate students to support each other. And you can also ask Natalie and I some mental health questions, and we can give some advice if that's wanted. We do have the last one this semester coming up on Monday the 6th from 5 to 6 p.m. These sessions are hosted in the Graduate Student Center. If you'd like to participate, I would encourage you to write down that URL code. And again, follow PGSG on Instagram for more information about offerings for spring. Okay, so we do have some time to do a mindfulness practice. So I would like to go ahead and lead you guys through a brief progressive muscle relaxation exercise. I'm going to shorten it so that we do have some time for questions, and I'll try and make it not too long. So if you would, get in a comfortable position, whatever feels natural for you to sit in. I like to just put my hands flat on my desk and have my feet flat on the floor. I kind of move around while I do this a little bit because I like to feel my muscles. And if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and close your eyes. I will do that. Just follow along with my voice. If your mind wanders, don't get mad at yourself. Just redirect yourself back to my voice and what we're currently trying to do in this exercise. So let's just start with our breathing. I want you to make sure you are getting some nice full breaths in. You don't have to time them. Just breathe in a way that feels natural to you, but is still getting nice full breaths. Try and direct your mind to focus just on the breathing. If your mind wanders to something else, just redirect yourself back to your breathing. Next, I would like you to direct your mind to your jaw muscles. When we have anxiety, stress, even depression, or just a lot of upsetting things happen at once, we just have tension. And that tension often is in our jaw. Me, especially when I'm driving. So if you can, try and feel those jaw muscles. Sometimes it helps to move your jaw around, but try and flex and relax those jaw muscles a few times. Next, I would like you to direct your attention to your neck and your upper shoulders. This is also an area where we hold a lot of tension. Sometimes it helps to move your head around a little bit, but try and feel those neck muscles and those upper shoulder muscles and see if you can work the tension out of there. Again, if your mind wanders, just bring it back to those neck muscles. Next, I would like you to direct your attention to your upper arms, your bicep muscles, and those other ones that I can't remember right now. But it kind of helps to move your arm, your shoulder around a little bit. Try and work out those upper arm muscles. You want to flex them, relax them. Imagine that you're pushing the tension down out of those upper arm muscles. Next, direct your attention to your lower arm muscles and your hands. Sometimes we do clench our fists when we are stressed or we fidget a lot. You may find that you do have tension in your hands and in your lower arm muscles. Try and flex and relax those muscles as well. Imagine that tension and that stress getting pushed down and out through your fingertips. They've now escaped your body. Once you feel like you've worked that out, direct your mind back to your breathing. Relax your body a little bit and then just focus back on your breathing. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Just bring it back to your breathing. Take nice, full breaths and sit with that for a moment. Now let's bring our consciousness back to the present moment. Shake it out and get back into the present moment and open our eyes. Okay, so that was a very, very shortened version of progressive muscle relaxation. When I do the full thing, I try and focus on muscles in my face. And I'll start with like maybe even like trying to relax my forehead muscles and slowly move myself down through the body. I will even separate the neck and shoulder muscles. I'll do the hand differently than the arms, and I'll do my back muscles and all the way down through my legs and my toes. I just did the shortened version for time's sake. I wanted to make sure that we had some time for questions.